All right, one and all, welcome back to the competitive Age of Empires 4 action. It is time for a showdown between orgs. We've got 3D Clan versus my Insanity here. It's B up against Zerton in the Elite Classic 2. We're doing the recap. So many series went uncasted, and that is a crime I will not stand for. So let's see what these two have got. Zerton is going to be opening this best of 3 series with Jeanne D'Arc. On the other side, B opts for the Japanese on Rocky Canyon. Now, this intrigued me, actually, because Japanese, typically we've been seeing them reserved for, I want to say, Holy Island. A lot of times when they're getting drafted with only land maps, they get ignored. This makes a little bit more sense to me, though. I think Rocky Canyon's a decent one for them. Frisian Marshes is also another option in this map pool. Basically, the draft was Rocky Canyon, Dry Arabia, and Frisian Marshes. So B had Flexi there. Japan actually fits that draft really well. I think if you get basically Rocky Canyon, Frisian Marshes, or Holy Island in the draft, Japan should be a high pro pick, probably in the first 2. In fact, let me just double check. I believe drafting order, yeah, it was B's second pick. So only Mongols was a higher priority there. Mongols likely being saved for Frisian Marshes if needed. Other side of it, while B got his hands on Mongols, Japanese, Abbasid, Chinese, Zerton got Jeanne D'Arc, Ayyubids, Malians, and HRE. And Zerton, man after my own heart here, he's going for a Spearman opening. I remember seeing this for a little while with Jeanne D'Arc, but then it just kind of fell off. But it's really good in this game, because B's spawn sucks. He got double stone, berries, and gold all on the ford. The extra gold is really far away. This is not a great spawn to be up against a Spearman aggro play. I love that read by Zerton. Zerton, was this an informed play? It was. Dude, that's sick. Because the rats, I think, came out once he just moved past here, right? So he saw the ford gold and then plays into it. And the question now, is it going to be an outpost rush? Oh, it is. We are getting a Jeanne D'Arc outpost rush. This is what I live for. It's something that's been theory crafted for quite a bit, right? Like this whole idea that she builds so much quicker, but we haven't seen much in competitive games. It's a smart read by Zerton. And now on the other side, you're not going to have the Koka Township as an answer. Instead, B is going for the Kuristo House, as he typically does up against the tree line. This leaves him open to the possibility of going to Yuumi. We'll not like to see Yuumi when you're up against Jeanne D'Arc, because she has the heavy cav to support. But it gives you that flexi, placing it here, and also saves 50 wood on a lumber camp. Spearman forcing B off of the blacksmiths. I'm wondering if we do actually just see spear archers, because it's all you can afford right now. This outpost going up is going to block out the berries as well as the forge in a game where B only has 8 sheep right now. Spears. Ooh, a bit cheeky there. Trying to just deny it out. What? Okay, Zerton somehow got away with that. That's a miracle he actually got away on 1 HP there. The outpost definitely going to go up. Zerton shouldn't be ready for level 2 Jeanne for quite a while unless he wants to keep the outpost going. Considering he stopped at 4 spears, I'm curious to see if he's going to try to drop a second outpost here. It's very greedy, but it would essentially completely constrict your opponent out of the map. Otherwise, he can still sneak north side to try and get the gold here. It would be dangerous because you're up against essentially the French, right? And although they're not going to fast tech here, once they do get feudal age, you're going to be looking at School of Cavalry Knights, which is quite the ball buster, actually, for exposed villagers. Villager just about gets away with that. So, berries not accessible. Deer not accessible. Berries on the flank could be a grab here. Kura Storehouse is at least going to give some runway. That's the thing I love about Kura Storehouse. It kind of insulates you compared to other civs eco states, right? Where they just run out of food and be dead on arrival. This is the type of thing that keeps you going for a lot longer. Spearmen are now going to move out to guard on the flank gold. Like the split, Zerton leaves 2 in the outpost to try and defend this. B, it is going to be the Yuumi, dude. If there is a single player that likes to build Yuumi at the highest level, this is the player. I've seen B do this in so many games before. We've even seen him go full Yuumi against Mongols all in just to try and counter them, and he has won those type of games. So Yuumi is going to slap pretty hard. You think it's bad because you're up against Knights, but the reality is, if you get your timings right, you can actually get a little bit of an edge, do some decent damage. Reality is you're going to be doing 1 damage, right? But 1 damage adds up a lot when you have a crap ton of these bad boys. And if you get a Rax down, just 1 line of spears to support, the whole idea is you can just kind of turn this into its own raid force. But for now, it's just simply about reclaiming the gold. Turns out that after that walkout for the outpost, Zerton walked all the way home. So that's a lot of idle time. Yes, you've denied the gold away from the Japanese. You've been annoying for that. But let's think about what you lost in return. That's a lot of wasted XP gathering. Jeanne was not gathering for that entire time. In a way, the outpost kind of makes up for it, right? Because the outpost, when you build, you get a lot more XP. So I don't think she should be ready for level 2 the moment School Cavalry completes, but she shouldn't be too far off either. Yumi spam continue. B has got access to the gold now. We'll get the space to build up the outpost. This is important because also now gathering the gold, it's going to get the stone to get the arrow slits. And, you know, that's kind of an interesting thing as Yumi are effective garrisoning troops as well. Like, if you need something extra to just hop in an outpost. We even saw a very creative build from Corvinus where he would rush the enemy base with an outpost drop and garrison Yumi inside. I don't expect to see that in this game. I just expect to see a little bit of a raid. And this is what I always value Yumi for. I think that this is something that is being slept on by so many players at the highest level. Yumi are a raiding tool. Think of this as a 2-legged Magadai is kind of an interesting way to look at it. Yumi move at 1.38 movement speed. This is actually a similar thing that I'm expecting to see HRE evolve into, by the way. Marching Drill's Archer's HRE can do a lot of damage to the enemy economy. I love that he's splitting these off into small groups and now going raid. Second outpost is coming up. Zerton, he has gone for the Hunter form here. So this is kind of a weird one, right? Because like, if you're playing Yumi like this, I always say Yumi is like Zergling. Your goal is to overwhelm, raid, just outpace your opponent. The negative is you throw away a lot of units, right, into the blender. So that does mean that Jeanne can get a lot of XP. However, it also means that she can get chased down by the massive Zerglings here. 1.38 movement speed on each side. You know, if you misstep, if you overstep, Master Yumi can actually snipe you down pretty quick. And you're not really getting much resource, much XP in return, right? You end up getting 6.5 XP. In fact, I haven't tested that. I don't know whether Jeanne's XP is integer or float. I assume that it is float, so it does count for decimals. It just won't show on the UI. Nice little snipe there. Does get a villager for their troubles. Yumi come around the back. Might be a mistake here by B. Oh, dear. Yeah, you just need to get out. Like, you don't want to be throwing away the Yumi here. It's a double. Got it. So it does count. Yeah, so it does count for decimals. Cal decided to follow me down the programming route instead of, yeah, just essentially saying it's decimals. But just to confirm, people float, and double basically means that it's decimals. Integers in programming terms means like you're just dealing in full numbers. You can't do decimals. The reason why I highlight this is, like, for example, the front end UI is integer, whereas, or single, yeah, whereas the back end is dealing in double. That matters with things like Bannerman, because it means, like, for example, when you have the Yumi Ashigaru with 5 damage here, Bannerman gives 15%, which means you're increasing your damage by 0.75. But it will show as an extra +1 damage here. He's still scaling Yumi, man. Are we legit just going to get a full Yumi build? I called it at the start of the game. There's no way. He's going to have to transition. Against Mass Knights, it's kind of crazy because actually, like, if this was Women at Arms form, I think it would be very difficult for you to kill. But because it's the Hunter form, if you get enough of these Yumi, you just insta-kill at the start of fights. And then it turns into this meat grinder where you don't care about what you lose because there's no XP feed on the other side. Knights are trying to raid in. I'll get you pushed away. But that means there's no Knights here to contest this. Zerton might get idled up at home. Already had to pull off of the deer. I love that from B. Just not overextending. He understands the Knights have pulled away, so he looks to back off himself. B, quick on the reactions, though. Gets in just in time there. That's a really crafty little game that's happening there. So, like, B, because he saw the Knights pull away, he thought they were coming back. He pulls away from the aggro. Zerton then refuses to give up, goes in again. But B now just needs to rally home and look towards gathering enough stone to get gradually into your daimyo. so that you can get your hands on the bannerman. And then you just spam non-stop on these Numi. It might be instead he just goes to the castle age, because if you do go for that goal of getting your bannerman, the stone gathering, it takes quite a long time. So I think we might now just be looking at a castle age transition for B. Wait, hold up. Just to confirm this, Cow doesn't even know. Has Cow been acting like he knew it was double all along, and he doesn't even know if it's double or float? That is classic Cow. This is why, Cow, I cannot trust a word you say. Can't believe this. I feel lied to. I'm glad B is here with the Master Yumi to keep me content. Keep me docile. Zerton. Wait, is he actually going to fight these? Yes! I love the confidence with which he plays into this, because guess what? Zerton never got under mesh. Oh, man. Yeah, that's actually a problem with Zerton. It means he can't dive this base. He can't dive these outposts. It means that B is about to be an age ahead, and Zerton doesn't have a clean answer. Move out onto the deer location. Archers are going to get cut. Dude, I just love the Yumi, man. I don't care what anyone says. All right, Yumi work. Yumi work, you're just not using them the intended way. Look at the gap close potential. You move quicker than villagers here, even with the wheelbarrow. So we'll quickly get a little bit of a sniper going on. More idle time over here. Floating gate now on the way at home. Now B, this is where the Yumi are going to die, right? That's an inevitability. But the goal here is you've dragged all attention away from your tech up. Usually, the Bible of RTS says you're meant to cover your tech up. You're meant to pull everyone back, but this is doing exactly what he needs to. It's getting in the breathing room. I love the way he's microing off 1 or 2 Yumi to split the fight so that it keeps Jeanne away and gives her less XP. And also guarantees that some of these guys get to live. That's such a sick read by B. Floating gate coming in, and I'm wondering, are we just getting Onimusha? I think we do here. Onimusha are so impactful against what Zerton's doing. Also allows you to upgrade the Yumi very quickly here. Level 2 range damage upgrade coming in. Yorishiro hasn't been dropped in though. B a little bit too busy microing. B? Okay, he realizes now, so it's on the way. Yeah, this is going to be Onimusha spam. Oh, dude, this is so sick. You know what I've yet to see, actually, and I think it does hit pretty hard, is Mass Yumi, Mass Onimusha. Sounds really memey, but the logic is that you just use these cheap Yumi as a frontline unit against melee units and against Archer Fire. And then the Onimusha kill everything else. Speaking of which, Onimusha, they need to be body block protected by these Yumi right now. TC dive coming in. Zerton just trying to get through to the other side, but it's going to cost him dearly on the night count. Luckily for him, Jeanne wasn't targeted there, by the way. She could have been brought insanely low. In fact, she could now die. Onimusha, they have more range. Sniping. Has got what? I think 2 more Divine Arrow charges to work with. Drag across towards the outpost. That's going to be more damaging on Zerton. This is starting to get so tilting. He just can't touch anything here. Night count now down to 6. He's got more on the way, at least. Going to try to raid from the right side of the base now. The problem is when you just lose these knights like this, when they get target fired down, I think you'll give a lot of props to B for doing that. If he was just whittling away at these guys on an A-click, Divine Restoration would be high value, but because of what he's doing, it's not. A little bit greedy there, though. Mistakes made by B with that dive in. Yeah, I don't know why he's going for archers. Like, well, I kind of get it. He's scared for the Onimusha, but you just need to address the knights. Because right now, they're kind of farming up a storm, right, when they get on these Yumi. Night raid underneath the TC. It's going to be blocked out, though. Archers are on the tree line, and B losing economy here. Marching up north side now. Villagers finally going to shift away. B. Yeah, the crazy part is if Zerton had just left these archers here, B wouldn't have noticed. Instead, he makes it obvious. Allows B to keep his economy alive. Divine Restoration is going to be popped. Yumi now moving in range. Onimusha as well. Spears have arrived underneath the TC. Jeanne D'Arc has been taken out, so she's been removed from the field. And this means you can just commit with the A-clicks, right? You don't need to run away with the Yumi anymore. Just get a few Onimusha out and cut this down. And behind it, Zerton has not chosen to go for a tech up. He's all in on this. And I honestly don't think he's doing enough damage. I mean, 9 worker kills seems great and all, but realistically, you're an age behind now. You're starting to lose map control. Knight count has shrunk by a decent margin. Archer count is not looking great. This is where B can start to move for relics. First one is already on the way home. No Onimusha count is high enough to clean up the remaining knights here. In fact, that wall is going to pinch 3 more, so 3 losses like that, pretty expensive. He doesn't even want the fight, but he's not going to have a choice in it. Yeah, I don't think Zerton done enough damage to this all in, so we're going to start thinking, okay, how do you get Castle Age and how do you do it cleanly? Because right now, you're losing knights too quickly for a clean tech up, and you're against Onimusha while playing pocket resources. I think Zerton has reached a stage where he can't do anything but all in here. If he tries to just go for a tech up blind, he'll have no food at home, he'll basically be dead on arrival. The Onimusha count is now reaching a stage where these archers aren't really a sufficient answer. We've also got the ranged armor level 2 coming in 20 seconds, at which stage Jeanne D'Arc is not going to really be doing much either. Onimusha sniping down the remaining knights, and that's going to be it for Zerton. No cav left to work with. Last of the archers being cut down, and he's nowhere near ready for castle. John's arrived again, but I mean, there's not much he can do. Nice little snipe there. Nicely, he's going to idle up the farms, but now you're talking about a game where there's still a few berries left over here. You've still got the berries to resecure on the ford. You've got enough farms to afford a decent number of Onimusha, and because you've got relics coming in, you can always trade away some of this gold for food. Zerton, Divine Arrows are being wasted pretty quickly here. You can see what Zerton's aiming for. He's banking on level 3 recovering his game. It's not a bad idea, but B should be looking for a transition soon. In fact, it's coming. Mountain Samurai. So this is what I was waiting for. It's like not a bad idea what Zerton's doing here. If he gets level 3, these Onimusha don't do anything. They just die. The problem is by the time you're going to get it, you're going to be facing off against Mounted Samurai, and they will rinse you. So this retreat could also end up just losing Jeanne. Divine Restoration is coming off cooldown though, so nice turnaround. 3 picks there, and Jeanne has to be close to level 3 now. Zerton doing what he needs to try and keep any semblance of a chance alive here. Divine Restoration is going to get palmed. Jeanne left behind though. I mean, this could be a chase down actually. If you just gap close this, Mount Samurai moving in, almost should target it, and that's going to be Jeanne going down. Uma Bannerman also arrives, and that should be it. The Uma Bannerman detail buffing this entire army. This is why it's such a sexy follow-up against Jeanne and French, right? You open Onimusha, you go into Mount Samurai with the second Yorishiro, your entire army gets buffed up by the level 1 Daimyo. Now, third relic on the way home. B on his way to Zerton's home. Outpost being rushed up to defend. We've got the buyback coming in on Jeanne. She might not last long here, though. Gets level 3. All right, this is big. If Zerton's going to recover, this is the moment to do it. He saves the economy just before it's going to be hit up. Behind this, though, B is about to go up to 3 relics. He's capturing sacred sites, and he's secured additional gold. Zerton, right now, is struggling to get enough cav together. He actually pumps to Jeanne's Rider's Point. A pretty smart choice here. But considering you're now up against Mount Samurai, it's going to be difficult to stick on top of the Onimusha. This Mount Samurai, they've only not arrived because they're dealing with the outpost. So it looks like it's going to be a resecure on the berries, and this is exactly what we were waiting for. B, I think he's done everything he needs to now. You know, there are games where level 3 Jeanne is a GG, but this doesn't feel like one of them. It feels like you're pretty disarmed, really, right? Like, this is a unit that only has 2 ranged armor against mass Onimusha. You're going to die too quickly to this. Mount Samurai now just frontlining for the entire army. Jeanne's Rider's trying to go in, but remember, they have 0 melee armor. It's all about the range resistance, and that's not going to cut it here. And talk about Kaburaya, like that's the other detail that matters, right? Like trying to pull away from these fights gets more and more difficult as it goes on. And yeah, so people realize that now I'm seeing in chats like, wow, Japan really counters French. Do you want me to like open your eyes for you? Full like eyeball popping moment. If B had gone for his Castle Age and Jeanne had gone Castle Age and they both pumped Knights, Japanese can still win that. Because of their ramp up and also because of the deflective armor and the melee techs. It's crazy. Jeanne being forced away. Divine Restoration already used. This is it. Zerton's going to be broke. B, game 1. Despite Zerton's opening looking like it would just shut Japan down, B, so creative to make great use of those Yumi. It matters so much in this game and got him into cruise mode in the late. First goes to 3D Clan and puts them on match point in this best of 3. We go back to the draft where we have still got at least one more game ahead of us, and we've got to review what's available to Zerton here. Ayyubid's Malians HRE. Meanwhile, B has access to the Mongols, Abbasids, and Chinese. I think Zerton's best play here is probably to whip out the Ayyubids for game 2. If there's one that could turn it around, that would be the one I'd look towards. I think Ayyubids on most of the remaining maps are really good, unless we're looking at, say, Frisian Marshes, in which case this might be an HRE play. But with Mongols still in rotation, it's very dangerous. So, just had Rocky Canyon. It's actually going to be Dry Arabia, which means Malians versus Mongols. Okay, that's interesting. Zerton. This is a matchup that now favors Malians, right? It used to be quite Mongol favored, if you remember back when the houses had less health. But ever since the health buff, that whole cheesy play of just outpost rushing their gold, forcing them to build the defensive landmark, has fallen off the side of a cliff. I'd actually say this is like 60% Malian favored, right? Maybe I'm wrong on that. Let's have a look. December 6th patch, where it had a lot of games. Mongols versus Malians. Mongols 55%. Okay, so slight edge there. I think Dry Arabia is a little bit different in my eyes, though. I think Dry Arabia is one where they could easily be A-okay. But let's find out. Let's hop into it. Possibly last game of the series here. It always feels bad when they're so short. I'm looking forward to when we get into best of 5 territory. B versus Zerton. B with the Mongols. Turns out they're actually favored slightly. 55% win rate up against the Malians. Zerton comes down to the spawn. Is it good or is it bad? It looks like a juicy one here with double gold and deer, but remember that that is a double-edged sword against a civ like the Mongols. If this is going to be a Rax opening, an outpost rush can block you out of most of your resources. Let's find out. Switch across to make sure we know how many villages are working. It's 5 on the wood, so definitely looking at a Rax beginning in this game. Now, the reason why I said like Malians can usually actually do quite well here is because on a map like Dry Arabia, I feel like recently the neutral trade post spawns haven't been that great. On top of that, the other interesting thing is if you play into Donzos to mirror the Spearmen, you win out the longer it goes. The reason you win out is because you have that hybrid attack, you have a ranged attack. If it was just a melee mosh pit, I think it's very difficult for most civs to contest Mongols because of their efficiency with stone and double production. But this is a civ that has a unique spear. A unique spear that has more health, has more armor, and comes with a throwable attack. Does cost a little bit more resources, but I'd say it's worth it for all those details. So we'll see how long B wants to play into this, because it looks like it is going to be the Rax versus Rax. Scouting rotation, how are we looking? 10 versus... Ooh, 6. Okay, he's got a decent amount of sheep behind this. That had me a bit worried. That's like the worst thing that can happen here, is if this is about to turn into a full melee clash in Dark Age. You have got that higher attack. It is strong, yes, but realistically, if you don't have enough food to pump up to the numbers, you're not going to win because you'll just be outnumbered. B on his way with the villager already, so it should be an outpost drop between the two golds. Zerton doesn't see this, by the way. If you drop an outpost right here, he's blind to it. So really important that he keeps the scout nearby. Nice little yoink there from B. He actually realizes the trajectory, cuts him off. Isn't going to see the scout, in the sheep in the corner. Is going to be for the one in the trade post, though. So sheep haul overall okay for the Malians at 9, but that's already matched at home for B, and he's getting additional from your side of the map, right? So decent haul coming out from B. Wow, he's actually going to go for a deeper outpost than I expected here. That's pretty smart, actually. At this stage, Zerton doesn't have the ramp up, right? He started to go for the houses first. Obviously, you need to for population reasons. So he's not able to get as many Donzos out as quickly. And it means you haven't got all these javelin throws. So it's an interesting choice by B, but realistically, he might be just quick enough with his outpost to get it up. If it wasn't for that detail, lets it in. Okay, this doesn't work now for B. He has to wait. The issue now is you've taken a stab there. The recharge is coming on the javelin throws. If you try this too early, you're going to die. But great micro B trying to cut off the one Donzo. Burn's starting to come in, but B, he's not going to cancel that outpost, right? If you cancel the progress here, you're basically going home. The only way this works is if you get it up in the next 40 seconds. Jaffro's coming in. Looks like the other one has not been expended, though. This is going to be tight, actually. I think Zerton with the 4th Jav coming back around. He gets the kill here. There's no way. B, this is cancel and go. Yeah. Okay, great hold there by Zerton. That pull on the right side, getting the space, the timing as well. I think the bigger issue for me is B a little bit too greedy here, right? He wanted the outpost close enough to block out gathering on the gold. I think you settle for just blocking the secondary gold extension and use this as a staging point. Instead now, he just has to cancel and go for his tech up. He has forced a big investment, though. Like, think about what just happened here for Zerton. Zerton had to invest in 5 of these Donzos. He's still investing. They cost 90 resources each. And the problem is, because you can't see whether the Mongols have stopped yet, you can't stop investing, right? So he's actually spent a lot more time in Dark Age compared to B. B. I wonder what his choice is going to be here, right? We already see it's Deerstone, so no trade. Makes sense. This is absolutely a terrible Dry Arabia map for trade. This is a big part of why I think like we're not seeing Mongols as the biggest priority in Dry Arabia. I think like you usually save them for, say, Mongolian Heights now, if you can get that in the draft. Actually, there is Mongolian Heights in the draft for this tournament, right? I'm not imagining that. Let me just double check. I wonder if my brain has farted, because I was just thinking we haven't seen it at all. Yeah, it is in rotation. It just always gets ignored from what I've been seeing so far. I think we've maybe had 1 game maximum. So Deerstone is going to give this ramp for B. It's unfortunate he couldn't have got that outpost up, because outpost with Deerstone is so painful to deal with. To be honest, if the outpost had gone up with this many Donzo, you'd dive and destroy it anyway, right? So it's not the big tear in the eye. It's not like the grand plan for B is completely fallen apart. He is going to have to add in pastures, though, because he doesn't want to play on those flanks. I think this is a smart read by B. One of the big issues right now with playing against Malians, I've seen a few Malian players adapt their builds where instead of just rushing Castle Age before they build sofas, they've started spamming sofas in Feudal. That's a problem, because if this was, for example, going to be your wide flank deer stack play, if your opponent opens sofas, you're just dead on arrival. Tech up's complete. Archer range now added in. What is B's play here? He's actually is going to go for the archers himself. I wondered if he would do this. Archer plus spear for Mongols feels a bit weird against this comp, so I'm imagining we're going to be looking at Keshik's on a delay as well. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what the full plan is here. Maybe he wants to go Rams, Clown Car inside them, and then just take out the pit mines. In fact, after the scouting, it's going to be double archery range from Zerton. Okay, that's interesting, right? That's a lot more all-in than I was expecting. There's no way Zerton tries to play out onto the map here, right? That, to me, would feel like a mistake. Like, your goal is still to get Ranch, still get Castle Age. I don't feel like you lean in towards a mid-map type play. You've scouted out your opponent. You've seen he's gone for archery range. You've seen he's gone Deerstone. There's no requirement for you to come out, is what I'd say here. Like, your comp should be designed entirely for defense. B. He is going to go for that deer play, or rather the boar instead. So, yeah, interesting he went for the pasture at all here then. Now, the question is whether Zerton is going to read this and try to move out to punish it. That, to me, would be an error. I think if there's one way you lose these type of games as Malians now, is playing out onto the map in an aggressive fashion. This Civ just feels kind of busted rushing towards its tech up timings. And you know, maybe you're worried about your opponent Castle Aging as well, but what does the Mongol do immediately with Castle Age? I guess they could try to go into men-at-arms spam. So that's probably what's got Zerton a little bit worried, right? Even then, though. The power spike that you get, like, imagine if instead of Zerton adding double archery range racks, he had 1 rack, 1 archery range, limited troops, and then double mill pumping for ranches. Instead, Zerton, he's genuinely going for a feudal all-in. Not a single ranch in sight at 8 minutes into the game. Instead, he's heading straight towards B's base. Now, the one thing that makes this a bit dicey is up against this Civ, the movement speed, right? The yam that they typically have due to the Deerstone, and also the mistake made, the javelins ahead of the formation. I'm not sure what Zerton was expecting from this. Death, by the looks of it. Stabs are coming in. Archers just keep on chasing here, right? They want to keep the Donzos away to make sure the Javs slowly get stabbed down. Wow, that was expensive and unnecessary from Zerton. So he finds himself in the defensive format in the end anyway. Archers are going to turn around now to deal with this. Love the body block attempt there by the Khan. Able to keep them around a little bit longer. Forces the Donzos to come closer. And now it's going to force idle time on the pit mine as well. Well played by B. Behind this, he's got the ball gathering. He's got an outpost up there. He's starting to extend his yam a little. I wouldn't even mind seeing him drop an outpost a little bit more aggressively so he can get more troops out faster. And Zerton now investing even more in this feudal after what he saw. In a game where we've yet to see a single ranch. Only the first one coming now. I think Zerton, like, he did scout the Deerstone, right? Like, I'm adamant I saw the scout walk in range because I'm trying to wrap my brain as to what the thought process is on why you have to add in so many units and come out. Adding in units makes sense. Yes, we see it a lot. But coming out is the part that's puzzling to me. It's almost like B not attacking him made him nervous, right? Like, it sounds kind of weird and fluffy. It's like, oh, no, you're just saying things to say things. B is a very uncomfortable player to play against. It's a weird one to play into. When he isn't aggressing you, you're always question marking what he's doing. Right? This is the guy that does pro scouts. This is a guy that will proxy base you. This is a guy that you get in, and if there's someone that's going to have a weird and funky strat, it's most likely going to be B. So I almost feel like that got in Zerton's head, and he overextended for no reason because of it. Yes, there are boar being gathered. Yes, there's deer being gathered. But you didn't dive towards those, did you? You dived towards the main base. Zerton. One thing that does scare me is if he continues on this path, he doesn't have many Donzos. If B identifies this in double stable drops, gets a few Keshiks out. Oh my god, dude, he... Well, yep, there was a reason why Zerton should have came out, it turns out. B is actually trading. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, it's not fantastic trade, right? 32 gold, but it's extra cheddar in the pocket. So this is very frustrating, right? Zerton, I don't think he ever glimpsed that, if I'm not mistaken. The scout was out earlier than when the trade came. But this explains why he was posturing, right? He had justifiable causes. Justifiable reasons to do this. Now B, is he macroing up for castle? I think he is. Ranch is now being spammed in. Zerton, he's double mill. So cattle are going to come in quick. B, what a crafty fella here. If you get veterancy on these archers, they're not bad at dealing with javs. I think that is genuinely what he's aiming for as well. He's prepping undermesh, he's prepped steeled arrow. He's got a lot of food savings. Are we maybe going to see men at arms upon age up as well? No, dude, you get siege engineering improved, right? He hasn't got enough stone for it yet, but he will soon. I think you just save for siege engineering improved. Because, like, if you just get a mangonel on your tech timing here, build it next to the base of Zerton, these javelins can't fight, and realistically, he has nothing else to fight with. Trader count keeps escalating, though, up to 6 now. We'll have to see. Uvu has got enough stone left? No, it's going to be short. Okay, that's problematic then. So he's not going to have quite enough stone to buy siege engineering improved, but he has got the Kurota on the way. Dude, is this going to be a quick game from B? I mean, we're 12 minutes in, right? Like, what do you define quick game? But I mean, a quick end of the game, because if he gets the pack-up tech, which he has on the way, and he wheels the Kurota to the enemy base, gets the veterancy in here, Zerton hasn't begun his tech up yet. Javelins will struggle to hold that. A few more trays being added in. Zerton now playing with the deer to try and supplement his eco a little bit, but his food income is, quite frankly, abysmal. Tech up now complete. Veterancy's been queued, and this is the moment where Zerton has to be face-palming it. There's the confirmation. The Kurota immediately sent over to the enemy base. And now you just back up. You just wait. You just let Zerton overextend again, just like he done earlier this game. Kurota is going to start unpacking. Nice idea there. Almost baited Zerton in range. So this is big, right? The veterancy coming through, going to get the +2. Then on top of that, you're going to get extra 2 damage on these archers with the Kurota buff. Fair to say the Javelin Throwers 4 armor isn't really going to account for much. We even see balanced projectiles being queued up. The Deer Stone. Dude, I love this build so much. He has the full aura. Oh, this is a sick timing B. He's going to crawl in with the Deer Stone. Wolves going up from Zerton to try and keep him away, but it's not going to work here. Crawl time moving in. This has to feel so claustrophobic right now for Zerton. What do you do against this? Archer's moving in now. 8 damage, about to become 9. Over 50% of your damage going through, and then the buff as well. Good God, 11 damage versus 4 armor. Here's the dive. Armor arrow gets upgraded, gets activated rather, so no damage being done by the jabs. Oh my God, and Keshik are coming behind this now. Zerton, he's panicking. He's queuing even more javelins. Villagers gonna get cut down. 5 just dead. Oh my. Oh wait, sorry, they weren't villagers, they were the Donzos. Still, a lot of gold for Zerton, and not much he can do with it right now. The Cruel Tide is moving deeper. I cannot believe this. Spearman just absorbing all the fire. Zerton, he's actually just A-clicking this, which means he's not dealing with the archers. The archers are what kill you here. Wait, I'm sorry. Isn't this unit meant to counter this unit? No one specified what way it was meant to be. The javelins are trading out 1-for-1 up against archers. That is never a good sign. Protai unpacking. This is it. This is the death blow. Zerton has to stand his ground. There's nowhere left to run. And he is dying like flies here. Jav count. Just 12 remain. Soon to be none. Villagers trying to rush the tech up, but folks, if he sees this, if B just dives in, he can end the game right here. It's a cancel, the landmark. Zerton is stuck with no way out. What a timing by B. A fantastic timing at that. Zerton with the overinvestment in an aggro here. If his timing had been just a minute or two earlier, and the upgrade came through, we could be looking at a very different game here. But the archers are going to mop up what remains of the army. The Keshik have now arrived. And Zerton has nothing left. He's queuing even more javelins, for God's sake. Musafadi is just pathetic, by the way. If you're building Feudal Age Musafadi, the game is basically over. And the Keshik pump is not going to stop, remember. He still has more traders coming in. We're now up to, what, 10 traders? That means we've got the Silk Road effects kicking in. And sure, the archers are dead, but the Keshiks are now what remains, and they remain unanswered here. That's veteran Keshiks. I believe he did also get the Step Lance attack. This is just vicious. How to unravel the Malians. This is how. You know, Zerton, I think you'll look back at this game and realize that that movement out of his base was a bit of an overextension. It cost him dearly, and then the panic overreaction. The Deer Stone! B has blocked the Fulani forever. Oh my, no, dude, this doesn't even work, even if you burn it down. I can't. I actually can't. Everyone's asking, how do you solve for Fulani? How do you counter Fulani? Counter it like this. Look at those eyes. Look in the Deerstone's eyes. That's the face of a serious competitor. And he just leaves. He's like, well, my work here is done. That's, by the way, that's not moving. That's never moving. When he destroys it, it's still going to be in the way. Oh, what a Giga Brain play by B. I mean, it was starting to look like the Keshik numbers are thinning. Maybe Zerton would be able to recover it, but that one detail, I truly think makes this game unwinnable. Zerton's going to have to make a stand though, right? Already up against match point. More archers coming in. Kurotai is wheeling on its way in again. And Zerton, you might be wondering, why does he not just build Donzos? Because Donzos die even quicker. mean, realistically, actually, yeah, Donzo's would be better, in my honest opinion here. But he doesn't have them upgraded, right? They're still Dark Age. He needs troops. He's panicking. Finally, they're going to start coming out. I just think it's too late now. GG! What an insane way to force a win. B. Oh, looking on fire in this second game. Actually, the entire series. Game 1 with the Yuumi all-in. Game 2 with the Oh Dear Stone in your Fulani. What more do you need? Surely you're entertained.